I wanted to cover some of the basic MS Excel formatting tips I think make a spreadsheet easier to read, and look a bit better. The point of a spreadsheet is to display the data in a good way, an easier way to comprehend. And so, if you're a little messy or you're not following the rules of the spreadsheet precisely, it can detract from your presentation. So, just some things that I think work well. So um, I have here typed my timetable, and I'm going to make a bit of a schedule. One thing that I really don't care to see, and I think is bad, is when you have the information in the cell that's cut off for a printable document. So you have a couple of ways you can get around that. Firstly, you can go to Format Cells, right-click Format Cells, or under Format Cells, and under Alignment, select Wrap Text, and that will enable it all to fit. Another thing that will work is you can use the return, a hard return. Now if you just hit return, it'll move on to the next cell. So in Windows, if you hit Alt and return, you can do a line break, or here on a Mac, Control Option Enter, and it will actually put the line break in there. And that's actually how I would like it to look, I think, is to actually have that. You can just press backspace and delete it like you would a normal line. I think I would actually prefer it to look like this. So I'm again Control Option Return for Mac, Alt Return if you're on Windows. Another thing that I think is helpful is the merge text, merge cells feature. So I have here the time. I have on the side, and I have a start and I have an ending time, and I'd like the middle, the cell button to be one cell. So in the Windows, there's always a merge cell button, and then you can also find it here under Format Cells, Merge Cells. Find it that way as well. Sometimes the easiest is better, so I'll just grab the one from the bar here. Again, I want to make sure I put my hard return in. And just for lunch, it can work across columns too and really merge everything together. The default is always the align with the bottom, and I don't think that that's necessarily the best look. I'm going to change it so that it aligns with the center. So usually in the ribbon here at the top, you have a center. You can vertically align center, and you can horizontally align center. You can also go to Format Cells with the right click and deal with the alignment there, and rotate it if you want. And so this one, sometimes you need to adjust the number of pixels. This one got a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it worth 15 the same, so I just put my cursor here in the gray area, and it does all the adjusting that I need. To add your shading, make sure that it's readable. So we have here the paint bucket for our background, and we have the letter here. I'm gonna, so that I know that each course is the same, I'm going to use similar colors for each course. It's a little pale, I don't quite like that. Again, I make sure all my rows are the same, because if something's not uniform, it's just going to look a little off in this spreadsheet. So I will not, and up here it saves your last settings, the one you previously used. And that can be a way to save a bit of time. So, another way that can save some time is by cutting and pasting, because I know that the Humberside schedule does reverse. So I'll make sure I put my cursor here in the absolute top, the top of the three boxes, and it'll do the merge formatting for me. And here I can select all the kinds of the borders that I would like. And if I want to really customize it, I can go to border options or right click border options and do something like a thicker border for the outside. And again, I want to make it consistent, because consistency I think is an important part of good spreadsheet design. Oops. One thing you might want to do is print things in a layout style. So if you do want to do that, that's under Zone Layout tab, and we can change the margins, we can change the orientation. I think this might look in a better as a landscape. You can see the little blue line where our page break is. And I'm going to just go back to the formatting. I'm going to increase my font. And again, sometimes I see students hand stuff like this in, let's take the time to, make sure we adjust it. Make sure that everything is like a good size, that it's easy to see, that everything's kind of the same. I'm going to select, 0.5 inches. So there's really really easy to, oh, that's a little too big, because again, it just breaks over a page. So when you do your table, keep it all on one page. Don't have it break over any of the pages. Something like that. I'm almost finished, but I'm just going to adjust how the table displays by working in the page setup under the file menu. And one thing I can do here is I can add some headers, and you have some basic formatting. It'll appear on every page. You also, you have some easy default ones like page numbers or the date and so on. But I'm going to choose customize, and I'm going to you could put a slight logo using the image button if you wanted to put some stationery on it. So that's something to appear on every page. I could adjust the margins if I wanted to, and this isn't a default option, but sometimes you might want to center it right in the middle of the page, and that's something you can do under page setup. So that when I go to print preview, print, I see that it's kind of all nice and centered, and this is a clear design. It's very easy to see. Feel free to add in your own formatting, but again, because it's a spreadsheet, don't go too far, and keep it easy.